Welcome to today's Better Way Thursday workshop. We're so glad to have you with us today. We're talking about a topic today, which is a career exploration topic, but it's one that we haven't really dealt with at Tech Moms before, which is careers in tech consulting. And this is actually really attractive for a lot of reasons. And so I was super excited to get connected with a bunch of tech consultants who are interested in sharing their experiences and stories. So we're going to dive right in today to talk about what a career in tech consulting is like. And three of our panelists today are from a consulting firm called Protiviti. So they'll tell you a little bit about that. And then Ryan is here with us as well, and he is an independent tech consultant. And so he can talk a little bit about that experience. And we're just going to start with intros. So Anna, let's go ahead and start with you. Take a couple of minutes, tell us about your career journey and anything else about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Robyn. Hi, I'm Anna Washington. I'm a director in Protiviti's Salt Lake City office. I've been with the company for about 5 years, but I started my career at KPMG, so doing the whole Big Four life. And from there, I went to a couple different financial institutions where I was in IT audit and security functions. And then about 5 years ago, I just kind of missed the consulting life. I missed the variety and working on different projects. And so, interviewed with Protiviti, loved the leadership in the office, and just couldn't wait to join. So I've been there ever since, and I kind of see myself, staying with Protiviti for the rest of my career. On a personal note, I love to mountain bike, love to ski, love to hike. My dog is getting a little bit too old for that, but she's always been our trail buddy, and she's going to be 15 this summer. But that's kind of what I spend my time doing.
Oh my goodness, your dog is 15. That's incredible. So great. Well, it's great to get to know you a little bit, Anna, and we're excited to get to know you better as we go through this discussion today. Jenna, tell us a little bit about your career journey and yourself as a person.
Yeah, I'm Jenna Wiles. I'm a senior consultant at the Salt Lake City Protiviti office. As far as my career journey, it's pretty short and sweet. I graduated from Florida State in 2021 and then moved out to Utah right after and started at Protiviti. But on a personal note, same with Anna, love to ski, love the outdoors. I have a cute little 1-year-old puppy who does all the things with me, so she's still young and spry, which is awesome.
Oh, great. So great. All right, Ryan, tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I was a product consultant at Parivita Solutions, which is a tech firm headquartered in Houston, Texas. I worked out of their San Francisco office up until recently. They had some layoffs, and now I'm doing some independent consulting on the side. I graduated in 2020 from BYU. Before that, I had an internship at Ernst & Young doing IT audit, and so I've kind of always been on that consulting path, and here I am today.
Great. Thank you.
In my spare time, I like to hike, ski, do the rest of the jazz that everybody likes to do.
I have got a group of outdoor enthusiasts today on this panel. We should all go for a hike after we record this webinar, right? Super fun. I would not be able to keep up with you. I'm an avid hiker, but I'm super, super slow because I'm old as anything. So I can hike for a really long time, but I have to take it slow. All right. And Jenny, tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Robyn. Yeah, so my career path, I started, I worked my way through school for a small company doing their accounting. After I graduated, I went into public accounting, did that for a while, got burned out on that, and then I went into industry and I was a financial reporting and controls manager for a little while. After that, I kind of, like Anna, missed the variety of having different clients and different people to work with, different teams, different projects. So then I joined Protiviti, and I've been with Protiviti for about 4 years now and just love it. So we'll get into that a little bit more later. But on a personal note, I'm going to break the mold here. I don't like outdoorsy stuff. So I love that you all love that, but that's not my thing. From my hobbies include I play Dungeons and Dragons every week with my friends, so I'm quite the nerd. Love that. And I grow gourmet mushrooms in my spare time. So that's a little bit about me.
That is amazing. Those are two hobbies that I know nothing about, especially growing mushrooms. I didn't know that was a hobby. That's amazing.
It's really fun. Highly
So
recommend it. And they're delicious.
Oh, so cool, Jenny. All right. Well, thank you so much. Okay. So my first question, and it sounds like we're all working in financial services, right? Protiviti. I mean, you guys are coming from a accounting background.
Tech and accounting. And
Okay.
when we kind of work with a variety of industries from tech to financial services, manufacturing, you name it.
Okay, so not just accounting. Okay, good. Because that'll help us. I was going to ask some other questions, but I'm like, but if this isn't in your experience at all, like, feel free to say, I don't know anything about that. I focus on financial services, but it sounds like we've got a breadth of different companies that we work with. Okay, first of all, and Jenna, I'm going to start with you on this question. What does a tech consultant do, and how is this different from other roles in technology?
Yeah, so I just got promoted to a senior consultant, which is exciting. But as a consultant originally, I would deal a lot with like testing of controls for companies. So that could be like security, change management, computer operations, backup controls. So in security, it's like, are the terminated users, do they no longer have access to the systems? Are admin roles specific to the people who only need to have them? Is their password security strong enough, up to the industry standard? So that's as far as like what my daily would do. As a senior now, I'm dabbling in that, but also doing more of the client facing work. And I would say this is different from other roles in tech because it's such a variety. Like every day is different. Every day I'm doing something new. When I was applying to other jobs when I was straight out of college, it seemed like it was very narrow and like what I would do in my everyday and very like routine. But as far as tech consulting, like every day is different. Like I could be testing 1,000 things. I could be just dealing on the client side of things. I could be walking that client through some issues they might have and how to fix those. But yeah, the variety is the awesome part about consulting, especially in tech.
Love it. Let me back up just a little bit and throw this question out to everybody. A company would hire a tech consulting firm for what reason? Like why do you guys have clients? Anna, do you want to hop in on that one?
Yeah, definitely. I think the main reason that people hire us is because we have experience working with so many different clients that we're able to kind of draw on those experiences and what we have learned to help be management or, the client's advisor, right? So we can say in our experience, we think you should do this, or we, know why something is this way. And so I think that's one of the main reasons is we just have so much knowledge and experience that we can really pass on to our clients and be a trusted advisor to them.
And it's bringing in specialized expertise that they don't have in-house,
Yeah,
right? Does
definitely.
that
Yep.
okay. Wonderful. Okay, Ryan, I'm going to go back to the original question. Add anything you want to what Jenna said about what a tech consultant does and how it's different from other roles in tech.
I think my experience has been just a little bit different because I was at a smaller, more boutique firm. We had, about 700 employees. So I worked on an array of different projects. I was on data architecture projects, DevOps projects. Towards the end, for the last year and a half, I was doing UI UX and product work. And so you really just get a lot of exposure, which is what I loved about being a consultant. You get exposure to a lot of different things. You have the ability to grow in various areas. And so you're exposed to a lot of different technologies. And, you become a bit of a generalist and you rely on the breadth of knowledge of those around you to help you really specialize in various areas.
And how long would you spend on a specific project?
My experience was a little bit anomalous. I was only on a given project for 6 months to a year, but for most of the consultants at my firm, it was usually about 2 years, maybe 3 years that they were on a given project, and then they would move on to the next project. It really depends on what you're doing. There are certain positions that are, I would say it's called staff aug, right? Where essentially a company hires out a consulting company to fill empty positions that they have. Those projects tend to be a little bit longer. Whereas like when you're building out something like a data lake for a given client, or you're building out their cloud architecture, it tends to be a little bit shorter and you tend to pivot a lot more on the project itself.
Okay. So a short term might be 6 months. That seemed long to me. I thought you were going to say I'd be on a project for 3 weeks. So 6 months is a short term and you could be on a given project for years.
Exactly. You could be with a given client going through various projects over the course of several years.
Okay. Thank you so much. Jenny, what can you add to this conversation? What does a tech consultant do and how is it different than other roles in tech?
Yeah, I would add, so from my experience, projects can range, at least at Protiviti, range from a couple of weeks to years. So it really depends on the client needs. And we do staff aug as well, but we also do projects where we come in, we have a given objective, whatever that may be, and then we're done. So it really depends on what the client needs and what we're able to provide. So yeah, I guess it really depends. And that's one of the things that I really love about consulting is there's so much variety. Whereas and that's how consulting differs from perhaps other roles in technology, where you might be hired to do one thing and that's your role and that's what you're doing day in and day out. Whereas in technology, or excuse me, in consulting, you're really more flexible and you get to experience different projects and different needs that the clients have, and you get to learn a lot more skills, because you get to deliver on those different needs that the clients have. So you get to expand your skill sets, learn different skills, and then deliver on those skills for your clients. So I really like that.
That sounds amazing. I love variety too. So that sounds right up my alley. Anna, let me ask you another question related to this. So when I think of a regular software developer, like they're writing code, they're building a platform, they're building a website, or they're doing the back end or whatever. A tech consultant might also do those same things, right? A tech consultant is sometimes doing the work and sometimes advising, double checking, have I got that right?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. And at Protiviti, we have anywhere from people who are software developers to people who do pen testing, to people who are just helping it from a risk management function. So it really varies on how technical you want to be. And yeah, and you're you're kind of, there's all different types of roles that you can play based on your skill set.
Okay. Also, I'm just going to say, help me out with acronyms or abbreviations. Penetration testing, is that what that is?
Penetration testing.
Okay.
So basically friendly hacking.
Good. Okay. So the good news is for all of you is that you get to talk to me like I don't know anything about tech, which is actually true. Lots of my moms know lots about tech, but I don't know anything. So if you can help me out with the acronyms and stuff like that, that will also do a service to some of our newer tech moms who are just exploring this for the first time. Oh, and then I had another question. Oh, okay. So Anna, following up on what you were talking about, you said that depending on how technical you are. So one of the things we preach all the time at Tech Moms is there are roles in technology that go from very, very low tech to very, very high tech. And it sounds like that variety also exists in technical consulting.
Yes, absolutely. And then
Okay.
we truly preach owning your own career. So if you want to get more technical, we help guide you there. Who do we introduce you to? What certifications should you get? What projects should you be on, to kind of learn those things? So it's really, you can really have the opportunity to own, your career. And if you want to stay at less technical, that's fine. And if you want to get very technical, then we can help you get there.
What an incredible way to be mentored and be learning on the job and have those opportunities. That's so great. All right. So Ryan, this question, let's start with you. Why did you decide to become a tech consultant?
I decided to become a tech consultant because I wanted that variety. I wanted to really figure out what it is that I wanted to do and be able to, dip my hand into various different projects. When I was applying to various companies, I applied mostly to consulting firms, and it was an array of consulting, from management consulting to tech consulting. I went with tech consulting because I wanted to have the harder skills, the skills that really would help me, build out whatever I needed to build out in the long run. And I wanted consulting so that way I could try out different things and see what fit. And I did, and then I ended up kind of navigating my career in the direction that I wanted to head. So towards the end of the time at my last company, I was doing mostly UI UX or product oriented projects. Whereas at the beginning, I had an array of different DevOps and data architecture and front end design projects that were great at helping me figure out what I wanted to end up doing as I move my career along. Similar to what Anna was saying earlier, most tech consulting firms are really good at helping push you in the direction that you want to go.
So Ryan, what did you study? What was your training and education that got you into that first tech job?
So I studied information systems when I was at BYU, and again, information systems was fairly broad. So we had, a series of different classes in data analytics, UI UX, web development, and so it really did help kind of ground me as I went into tech consulting. And I thought that was incredibly helpful to have that type of background. Not to say that if you don't have that type of background, or if you haven't studied those things, that you won't be able to get a position like that. I think that the resources online are incredible. And if you go out there, you get the certifications you need, you're well qualified to get any type of tech consulting position.
Awesome. Thank you. Jenny, how about you? Tell us a little bit about your training and education to get into this and why you chose tech consulting as a career.
Yeah, so my background is in accounting. So that's the degree that I got. Similar to Ryan, what really drew me to consulting was the variety. I missed that about public accounting, but also balance. Consulting, at least with Protiviti, that I'm not sure if that's the case. I can't speak for every consulting firm, but at least with Protiviti, we offer really good work-life balance that public accounting didn't. So public accounting offered variety, but not work-life balance and flexibility and autonomy. So it was really really attractive to be able to own your own career, like Anna was saying earlier. And at a lot of companies, you can only get promoted if there's a space for you to get promoted into, right? In consulting, you have a lot more opportunities for growth. And if you're ready, you can be promoted. So you don't have to wait for a job opening necessarily to open up. If you're ready and you have the skills, you'll be promoted. So that's really attractive for me in consulting. So all of those reasons drew me into consulting.
Love it. Thank you. Anna, how about you? Same question.
Yeah, so I graduated with an IS degree as well. And I would love to say that I picked consulting because of the variety, but honestly, I kind of fell into a Big Four KPMG career because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it wound up being perfect for me because I got so much variety to see different technologies, different systems, different clients. And I think that helped me move into industry, right? Because I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. Turns out I got a little bit bored doing that, but I wish I could say it was a more, a very conscious choice, but it just worked out really nicely for me. And now I definitely promote to everyone that they should go into consulting to get that exposure to different companies and different technologies.
So part of this was your experience deciding what you didn't want to do anymore, right? You
Yes.
did it for a while and you're like, no more for me. I'm looking for something different.
Yep, exactly.
Wonderful. Jenna, how about you?
Yeah, I think I had a very similar experience to Anna. Like I was very into tech, but I had an IS degree as well, which is super broad. It kind of just touched lightly on everything. So I just wanted to get into tech consulting to see what exactly struck my interests. I think everybody really touched on, what's great about tech consulting, but one thing specifically about consulting in general is that with the tech stuff, like, yeah, you focus on your hard skills, but with the consulting part of it, it's like I was able to really develop my soft skills, and I do every day. And so that's why I wanted to get into more like, yes, something technical, but also something that I could develop those skills that I could use with any job that I have, not just, something tech consulting related.
Okay, so these are all such great answers. You're talked about the variety, talked about the work-life balance, the ability to develop a wide variety of different skills that you can take to other jobs in the future. So these are all great great ideas, and you're doing a good job of selling your industry, people. So thank you so much for that. All right, so Jenny, I would love for you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your own individual pathways. I'd love to hear a little bit, if you can talk broadly, your colleagues, other people that you've worked with in this. Is there a typical pathway into tech consulting? And especially if you know someone who maybe doesn't have a technical college degree, a lot of our women are, well, they're all transitioning into the technology industry. And so if you've got ideas about pathways that people get into tech consulting that don't necessarily involve a tech bachelor's degree or college degree, but other ways to get in. Jenny, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think that the typical way is like go to college, get the degree, right? But especially
And
in tech,
do most people who are in this have a degree like in IT, in IS, years in accounting? Do they have like those highly technical degrees, or are there other college degrees that lead well into tech consulting?
I think a lot of people do have some kind of business related degree. But in tech, especially, I think certifications go a long, long way.
Mhm.
And that's a great way to get your foot in the door in tech. So whatever piques your interest is what I would say, start with a certification and go from there. And yeah, that's what I would say. That's my advice.
Do you have some favorite certifications that are in demand right now, that are hot right now? I remember when my husband first moved into tech. I can't tell you how old we are because it's a million years old now. But I remember there was like a Microsoft Office degree, a certificate. There were these other like IT certificates, because my husband got a master's degree in history and then he wanted to work in tech, as you do after you get a master's degree in history. So anyway, I just remember some of those early certifications. And anybody, when I get you on this question, throw in certifications that you think are really valuable, really in demand right now. But Jenny, do you have any ideas on some favorite certs?
That's a really good question. I don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna let
And,
the rest of them
oh yeah,
answer.
anybody else can get to that. Anna, how about you? A typical pathway for someone into this role, and then maybe an atypical pathway.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, obviously the typical pathway, like Jenny mentioned, is, you get a degree in IS or some related business field and start your career in consulting. But a lot of what we do is really learned on the job. And so, there are definitely atypical ways, right? Like Jenny said, you can get a certification. If you worked in another, career in the past and you just kind of demonstrated that you have a desire to learn and things like that. Maybe you have management skills. All of those things really, we take all of that into consideration when we're hiring people, and especially in the more technical paths. I think a lot of just on the job skills that you've learned elsewhere, those come into play definitely. So I think there's a lot of ways to get into consulting, and it's definitely not a one size fits all. And we love the diversity of backgrounds, right? Because people just bring different ideas and thoughts to the job. And so there really there's every background could be considered, I think. And if we talk about certifications, there's some cloud certifications are really popular right now, like the AWS, Azure, Google Cloud certifications. If you're interested in cybersecurity, the CISSP is a good one. If you want to go into risk management, you may get the CISA, the CISA. And I also personally have a project management professional, the PMP, which I think just in general helps so much with, just as we manage, lots of different engagements with our clients, kind of having that project management background is helpful as well.
Awesome, Anna. And something that you all have touched on that I didn't really have this in mind when I started this conversation today. So I appreciate how much of you have talked about the business knowledge, the business background, because I think of tech consulting like I'm just coming in to solve this technical problem. But from what I'm hearing, it is so much a bigger picture, understanding how this technical problem is affecting the larger business needs and the big picture and the context of everything that you're doing as a business. So that technical background and expertise also really valuable in addition to the tech background. Is that what I'm hearing from everybody? Okay, awesome. I wouldn't think of tech consulting as being a business career. So I'm learning so much today. It's awesome. Okay, Jenna, what are you thinking about typical pathway, certs that you like, things like that?
Yeah, I think Anna and Jenny touched on pretty well, like the conventional versus non-conventional ways getting into it. Though I had an IS degree, like first day on the job, yeah, I knew like the ideas of everything, but like everything I've learned thus far has been on the job. Like the Protiviti people are so great at taking the time and like walking you through things and having you learn that way. So I feel like even if you don't have that tech degree, you can still get there. You know, it's like, don't let that hinder you in any way. As far as certifications, I'm interested in that cloud space. So I just got my AWS Basic Cloud Practitioner. Sorry, just muted myself. Tech girl over here, tech consultant 101, muting herself on Zoom. But as far as certification goes, there's so many free resources out there. So like, I think when I first thought of it, I was like, this is going to be time consuming and expensive, but there's so many free resources out there. So like, don't let that stop you from even just like starting a course and being like, getting halfway through it and being like, I don't like this, you know, it's free. And like, maybe it took up a couple hours of your time, but like, the tech space is huge. And so I think the only way to get into it is just start, you know, like you don't have to have that IS degree or, you know, any sort of tech degree, like just start and go from there.
Jenna, that's music to my ears. I love to hear that. Like, I mean, and we know, despite the real churn up and everything that's going on right now, we are so bullish on the long-term opportunities available in tech. And I love your advice, like, just start, dive in, start learning something, start having conversations. So that's great. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm a big advocate of the team model, being really familiar with a bunch of different things, but being really, talented in one given area. And so I would say if you're just starting out, find something that you find that's really interesting and become, really good at it. Get the certifications that come along with that, and start applying yourself. There's nothing more important than exposure, especially at the beginning. So trying to get as much experience as you can in a given area would be the best way to kind of transition into tech consulting, especially if you don't have the degree as a background.
All right, Ryan. So you're talking about the T model, having a breadth of knowledge, but then having a depth of knowledge, right? I'm just drawing that picture for our friends here. Okay, good. Exactly. Love it. Love it. Okay, so I know you've all touched on this a little bit, and so maybe you'll hit the second part of this question a little bit more than the first part, but I want to know what you like best about your job, and then it's okay to tell us what you like least about your job. We all understand that there are crappy parts of every job, and we might as well know what they are before we get into them. So Anna, tell us what you like best about your job, and what you like least about your job, and how you work out those best and worsts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think like everyone said, I love the variety. I, love being the person that my clients pick up the phone and call when they have a problem, even if it's something I haven't helped them with in the past, just to be that first call, from them. I love that. I would say the thing I like least is that, sometimes not every project is great. And we're often, if a client delays a project for some reason, we're scrambling to figure out how do we redeploy the team and get everybody else on a different project. But what I would say is that if we don't like a project, there's always an end to it, and so you can move on to one that you do like. And so that it's kind of like the thing I like the least is also the thing I like the best. So
I love that. It is always good to know there's an end in sight. Yes. My dad's 84 years old, and he used to run the 440 in track in high school. And his lifelong saying is, you can survive anything for 58 seconds. So if you're on a contract, if you're on a specific project and it's going really badly, you're like, well, at least this will be done in August, right? So I love that. Thanks, Anna. All right, Jenna, what are your thoughts? Things you like best and things you like least?
Yeah, just like everybody else said, love the variety. I love the exposure to different types of companies, different types of people, different types of projects, like all of that. I would say it gets tedious at times. In my role specifically, like kind of like testing the same controls with the same applications, like with the same people, like doing that over and over gets tedious at times. But like Anna said, and like you said, like there's an end in sight, so that's always good. But honestly, there's not much I don't like, which is kind of cheesy, but it's true.
That's wonderful. You have found the right career for you.
I have.
Congratulations to finding that so early in your career, right?
Yeah, right. I think I lucked out over here.
Yeah. Fantastic. Ryan, what do you like best and what do you like least?
I love the people component of consulting. You get exposed to a lot of different clients, and you get to help them build out their vision for whatever they're trying to build out, regardless of the project. And so I really enjoyed being able to interact with clients in that respect and do the data requirements, the requirements gathering, and all of those different elements. My least favorite part, similar to what Anna was saying, is that you don't always get to pick the type of project that you want. And there are some projects that are more stressful than others. There's also that component of you're not always an expert when you come in to a given project. You might be on a project that you've never worked on before, and the expectation still exists that you will perform. And that can be stressful at times. And so just knowing that you have the resources available and that, you know, the people around you will help you is always a good knowledge to have as well. So that's my least favorite part.
So the learning curve can be steep, and you have to face it regularly, right? That,
Oh,
that
absolutely.
you just get into something and you're like, I got this down and now it's time for something new, which again could be a best and a worst, right?
Absolutely.
So many chances to learn, but you're like, now I'm the dummy in the room again.
Exactly. You know, walking in and they expect you to be the expert on it.
Like I will be, give me 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, give me 2
Jenny.
weeks in a Udemy course.
Yeah. For sure. Well, and I love that you just mentioned that, because I'm guessing this is something that you all do. You're doing ongoing independent learning for whatever, just like we tell our tech moms all the time, like if you don't know how to do something, get on YouTube, get on Google, figure it out. And you're doing that even on a broader scale. I've got a new project. This is a component. I haven't done this before. I'm going to take a quick Udemy course and figure this out. Love it. All right, Jenny, best things and worst things.
Yeah, I love the flexibility of consulting. But like that, what comes with that is, you know, we have deadlines. And so while we can have a lot of flexibility in our schedule, we do have some very firm deadlines. And so when we're up against a deadline, we don't have flexibility. And so those can be stressful. And then similar experiences to everybody else's pros and cons. I would echo all of those. But I think all of those are good things and bad things, and it depends on the day, right? Sometimes you love it, sometimes you love it a little bit less.
Yeah.
But
That
it's
was
really
very
good.
diplomatic. I love it a little bit less. So fun. Jenny, you brought up a really important point here about the flexibility. And I just wanted to make a distinction between being a consultant where you're working for a consulting firm, you're working for a consulting company, versus being an independent contractor who is doing consulting. Because I know that independent contractors, one of the designations of that status is that the company can't tell you where or when you do your work, right? The company that hires you, you can do it in the middle of the night, you can do it whatever. That's not necessarily, even though consulting gives you a lot of flexibility, your employer Protiviti or whatever the contractor that you're working, the client that you're working with can make some stipulations of, we need you working during regular working hours. Is that the case? Is that one of the differences between being an independent contractor and a standard consultant?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Good, because flexibility is like one of the very most cherished and sought after qualities in a job that the tech moms are looking for, right? Because we've got all these moving pieces of families and other parts of our lives, we are really looking for jobs with a lot of flexibility. So there is that flexibility there, but not as much as you would have as an independent contractor.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So moving on to my next question, and we've touched on this a little bit, but I want to dive a little bit deeper. Are there certain personality types and skill sets that are most likely to thrive in the role of a tech consultant? And Jenna, I want to start with you on this one.
Yeah, I would say confidence is huge. Not only in like the work you're doing, but you know, when you're bringing solutions to your client, you want to deliver it with confidence in a way that like they think it's going to be the best option for them, and you know, hopefully it is. I think it's important to be personable because you deal with a lot of different people, a lot of different types of people. So just being able to, you know, be flexible to that, be able to relate to all different kinds of people and all different spaces of work. The ability to deliver tough news, I think, is important as well, because sometimes there's just major issues that you can't avoid. And so being able to communicate that with the client without scaring them and making it seem like the world's going to end, I think that's important as well. Yeah, I think those are the three that come to mind off the top of my head immediately.
Those are great. And we've talked about you mentioned soft skills specifically, and
Mhm.
those really are soft skills, right? That so many of our women have, that they've cultivated like throughout their life of all these other things. You can't learn that. I mean, I don't think they offer a lot of classes in college on delivering hard news. Maybe they do. Maybe they do now and then, but we sure get that when we have to tell our kid, man, you didn't get I have to tell my kid, like, I just got the call, you didn't get the job, or I just saw this news, stuff like that. So that's something that I hadn't thought about, and a really, really important skill that you can bring to this type of setting. Ryan, what are the certain personality types or skill sets where people would thrive in this environment?
I love what Jenna said. I would add to that being amicable and being humble. In terms of amicability, you will work with very, very difficult individuals at times. Clients are not always the kindest people, and they will make requests that make no sense and then change their mind 2 days later. And so you just have to be able to work with them in a friendly way and help, guide the situation in the best way you know how. Being humble, you're going to be wrong 9 times out of 10 in most situations. You're going to have things kind of blow up in your face, and having the humility to go back and change things and make progress is super important. So I would say I would add those two. Personality types where they are kind of a little inflexible. I would say that those individuals won't thrive well in tech consulting.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much. Jenny.
Definitely agree with all of those points. I would also say a willingness to be comfortable being uncomfortable. We're constantly learning and being put in new situations, needing to learn new skills. So being willing and able to constantly grow and learn and develop our own skills, and being willing to teach our clients what they need to learn as well, is a really important skill to have. Um, and then someone who likes autonomy and being willing to own your own career is important in consulting. Um, Consulting is one of those careers where you don't typically have like one boss that you're reporting to all the time.
Mhm.
Typically, there's a matrix structure. And so you have to be able to advocate for yourself on every project that you're on and among different leaders. And so you really have to take ownership of your career and advocate for yourself to all of your different leaders. And so being able to manage your own career, take it where you want. You can't sit back passively and just expect someone else to manage your career for you. You really have to be able to actively manage your career and take it where you want to go. So yeah.
I love that. I'm going to go back and watch this and like make this list, because you guys are sharing so many great things, and there's so many that I can't, like, normally we get to the end of a segment, I'm like, okay, 3 main takeaways, and we've got tons of main takeaways from this. I love it. But I love how you talked about both being able to learn and being able to teach, that those are great, great qualities. And then talking about, I heard kind of the ability to prioritize things when you're dealing with multiple projects and different stakeholders and different bosses, to say, if I've got these different things, which fire do I need to put out first? I can imagine is something that you've got to be able to do well.
Yeah, definitely. Communicate, prioritize, and manage the different projects. Absolutely. Yeah.
So many great insights here. Okay, Anna, they've shared a million things. Do you have anything left?
You know what? I don't have a lot to add to what Jenna, Ryan, and Jenny said, but I will say that for people who, are worried about their soft skills, I am definitely an introvert. I don't know if I've taught myself to be an extrovert or if I fake it, but
You do
there's
fake it. Just on this call, I would never guess you're an introvert.
yeah. So there's definitely, don't let that hold you back. If you're like, oh, my soft skills, I don't love being in those uncomfortable positions or having to interface with clients all the time. And you get a lot of practice, right? So even with delivering bad news, I didn't, I'm a people pleaser. I didn't like that part of the job, 15 years ago when I started, but I've done it enough, and I've kind of, crafted my message and how I say things. And so you just get practice and experience doing that, and it becomes way less painful to do that. So So just didn't want anybody to feel like there was a barrier if, if they're a little bit more introverted.
Okay, these have all been so wonderful. You guys didn't say any of the things I thought you were going to say. Like I always, when I throw out these questions, I always have these ideas. Oh, they're going to say these types of things, and you said such different things. So I'm going to throw out a few of the things that I thought you were going to say, and you tell me if these are also additional qualities that are beneficial for people working in these roles, or if they're less important than I thought they were. So one of the things I was going to say is we actually have a fair number of transitioning teachers coming out of public ed, even some higher ed, wanting to move into tech. And I thought you were going to say, if you're going to be a consultant, you need to be a great teacher. Is that, and you hit on that a little bit, Jenny. Let's just do a thumbs up or thumbs down or thumbs sideways. You know, that famous thumb sideways. Okay. Do you think the ability to be a great teacher, explain concepts clearly, things like that? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways? Okay, thumbs up. That's an important thing. How about problem solving and troubleshooting? 2 thumbs up from Jenny. All right. That's a very important quality. How about, okay, and Jenny, I think you hit on this a little bit too. And this, I think, is going to be a thumbs down because I have some tech moms who just love, like, just knowing exactly what they're supposed to do and doing it. Like I was talking to a woman the other day and she's like, what I want to do is go into a job. I've got a list of tasks. I'm going to knock them off all perfectly and just plow through all those things. But she doesn't want to have to find out what the tasks are that she needs to do. Like she wants to follow rules and guidelines and get it done perfectly. Is that something that's maybe not well suited to this job? Sideways or down? Because
I would caveat that it depends on the project. If you're on a staff augmentation project, you're not in the same type of creative zone. You're essentially being taken on as an employee and being told what to do. So in those types of situations, that's actually, in my mind, I think that's fantastic. You're knocking down the things off the list and you're just getting through. For the vast majority of projects, so where you're coming in, you're building something out, you're introducing something new, that's not as useful.
Okay, that's a super great insight. And I think there are definitely understanding that most of the time, most consultants are doing some of that problem solving, that comfort with ambiguity, Jenny, that you were mentioning, things like that. But there are certain types of roles. I am checking off a list. I'm knocking everything out. I'm doing it really, really well and delivering on those things. And so there might be those types of roles, but they'd be much less common than the other types of roles that we're talking about. All right, let's talk salary ranges. What is the salary range for an entry-level person in tech consulting? What's a kind of a middle band for tech consulting? And where does this career max out? Anna, you've got the kind of the longest tenure in the industry, I think. So can you hit those kind of 3 numbers for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think it varies so much.
Sure.
I mean, I think when you're coming right out of school, like your salary might be in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. But I would say, like Jenny mentioned before, you can get promoted pretty often at a place like Protiviti, if you're ready for it, and your salary can become pretty lucrative over time. And we have bonuses and things like that. So it's hard to put a number on it because we actually don't make those things very
you kind of keep it to yourself.
Very public, but just even personally to me, I don't know what other people make.
Yeah.
But I would say there's definitely the opportunity as you move up to make quite a bit of money.
Well, and even giving us that entry-level salary really helps us out. A lot of the women looking at different tech careers, that stands, kind of equal to a lot of the other entry-level roles that we're looking at. So we could imagine that the mid-level and top caps are similar for tech consulting that they might be for other types of roles. Ryan, did you have something to want to add to that?
I did. So my last company, we had transparent salaries just because we wanted to make sure there was gender parity. That was one of the things I really appreciated about the company. I worked out of San Francisco, so my wage expectations were a lot different than working in Utah, which is haunting me now.
Oh yeah.
But I would say that, starting right, you can make anywhere from depending on where you live, $75,000 to, $70,000 to $90,000, right? And then as you go up, it usually bumps, depending on what cohort you're going from, anywhere from 5 to 15%, right? So like you're continually, similar to what Anna was saying, you're continually progressing throughout your career. And then as soon as you get to like the VP level, right, you can be making, a couple $100,000, anywhere up there. So you have the potential to make quite a bit of money. I would say that if anybody wants to look at kind of what one particular tech consulting firm is, they can look at Pariveda Solutions. Like I said, it's transparent all the way up from their junior level employees to their senior level employees.
Thank you. That's super helpful. Also, I'd like to change careers, just so you know. I'm just saying, being a nonprofit executive, you get paid and changing people's lives. That's what I say all the time. But sometimes it'd be nice to get paid and tons of money. That's okay. That's okay. I love my job. All right. So final question here. This has been so great, really informative, and I've loved learning from all of you today. So I would like for you each to give us some advice. And I can't remember where we're starting. I think we're starting with Ryan. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Ryan, what advice do you have for someone who might want to consider consulting as a career option on how to break into this industry and this specific role?
I would say become an expert, in quotations, become an expert in a given area, and especially in something that's new, that's up and coming, something that's, well sought after, and you have the potential to really break in almost anywhere. I think that's pretty general advice for almost any given tech field, but I'd say that would be my advice to somebody trying to break in.
So choose something that's in demand and really get to know it.
Yeah, go become the expert on ChatGPT. Do ChatGPT 3 hours a day for the next 3 months and apply everywhere.
And you'll be able to get some jobs. People are looking for help. Love it. Jenny, what's advice you have for someone looking to break into this industry?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Get those technical skills, absolutely. On top of that, I would say don't overlook the soft skills. So communication, project management, those are just as important as technical skills. So don't overlook those. And also networking. Just so many times it's not what you know, but who you know that will land you the job. So focus on that too.
So we beat that drum. We beat the networking drum around Tech Moms nonstop, 24/7. Everyone's so sick of me talking about it. Are there places, do tech consultants like have their own professional organization? Do they have networks? Like, where is a place for a tech mom to meet some people working in your industry where they could start building some relationships and getting some tips and advice from working professionals?
Yeah, so there's organizations like ISACA. There's like, so I know I work in internal audit. So there's the Institute of Internal Auditors. Those are a couple local organizations that I can think of. And now my mind is going blank. So
that's great. All my women are going to hit all you up on LinkedIn. So just be ready for that.
Perfect.
That's happening. We
Bring
also tell them anybody that came on a Tech Moms panel is open season on LinkedIn. You guys, I hope you all know that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Anna, what's your advice that you have?
Yeah, I would say it's similar to networking. I would just say find someone that a career mentor or somebody in the consulting field that you want to get to know. You can pick their brain, you can tell them what you're interested in. They can, any of us on this call, play that role for a lot of people internally and externally to our, to Protiviti, and we'll always give advice, direction, and, make connections and things like that. So like Jenny said, sometimes it's who you know, and and it always helps to get good advice and direction.
I love that. Thank you. All right, Jenna, you get the final word for today. That is very, very exciting.
On the networking side of things, I can kind of talk about it from someone who knew no one and knew nothing, like coming out of college from Florida, trying to get a job in Utah. Like I knew no one or nothing. So I just found like local people and had them kind of give me advice on who to connect with and where to start, but just using their connections as well. So like networking by like networking, like using the people you know to find other people you know. Like that's how I got here. Like I had my eyes set on Protiviti and I found a local recruiter in Florida and I was like, not interested here, but like would love to be in Utah. So can you hook me up with someone out there? But that could be, for a certain type of job, a certain type of company. So don't think that you have to like join a professional organization or, know someone super high up to network in that way. Like you can start from nothing, or even going on LinkedIn and finding recruiters for a company, or recruiters for a company with, a general industry that you like. Like I've done that too, and just kind of set up 15-minute calls and pick their brain. So that's really important. And I would say, as far as consulting, like the beautiful thing about consulting is that there's no degree or skill that you need. So I would say just start. Like, yeah, we picked on or touch on some things that help you and like give you the one up, but truly, like, that's what I love about consulting, is that you don't need one thing to do it. So just start.
I love it. That was a beautiful final word. Thank you so much. Anybody else have anything? Did you remember something? You're like, oh, I wanted to be sure to say this and I never got a chance because Robbyn forgot to ask me that question. Anything else you want to add? Nope. I love it. This is a perfect panel. We covered everything. No, thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful. Thanks to our friends from Protivity for reaching out and wanting to find ways to support tech moms. Ryan and I have been friends for a couple of years, and I'm so happy to have you, Ryan, here and a different perspective from your different background. So everybody, I hope that you found this helpful today. Please, you've got the names of all these friends here on LinkedIn. Reach out and connect with them and let them know that you saw them on this Tech Moms panel. And we're actually going to have a webinar coming up on mentorship soon. So that will touch on some of the things that we talked about as well. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
Thanks,